Welcome to the 30-Minute Major Hockey Podcast, the show that runs through all things hockey. Best of hockey today, yesterday, and decades ago. Free agency, trades, call-ups, wrist shots, slap shots, redirects, Michigans, Forsbergs, tweeners, posters, clappers, benders, barn burners, and everything that makes the game that you love so much. If you like the show, please feel free to follow us on all socials, and do not forget to like and subscribe at the end of the show. Enjoy! Hello, hockey fans. Welcome to the 5th episode of the 30-Minute Major Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Wyatt McInerney. After Week 5, we got some interesting stuff going on. We had the 2024 Hall of Fame inductees. Run through all of them and their impact on hockey. Then we got some winning streaks. Some are still alive. Some just ended last night. Then we got the 3 stars of the week, team of the week, standings, and stat leaderboards. Coming up next. First up, we have the Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2024. Some pretty notable names. You got Pavel Datsyuk, Shea Weber, Jeremy Roenick, Natalie Darwitz, Chrissy Wendell-Pohl, Colin Campbell, and David Poile. Obviously, your first 3 names on there are very big. You had Pavel Datsyuk, who's arguably one of the most talented Red Wings we've seen. Such a great two-way player, such a stellar career. 918 points in 953 games. Played solid time for the Red Wings from 2001 to 2016. 2-time Stanley Cup champion, 3-time Selke winner, 4-time Lady Byng Memorial Trophy winner. Very, he's just a great teammate, solid all-around player, 3-time All-Star. Just, I enjoyed watching him. Really later in his career, really got to appreciate him a little bit more. Just a overall masterclass. You never wanted to go one-on-one with him, and you never wanted him to be, in front of your face, because he really was one of the better defenders in hockey during his time in the NHL. And very, very happy that he was able to get inducted, because definitely deserving. Never really, had a bunch of solid seasons. Never went above 97 points. Had 2 consecutive 97-point seasons in 2007, 2008, and 2008 and 2009. But just a really great career. 900 points, plus 249. Plus-minus ratio was fantastic. And, he was a very vital, part of that team. Winning two Stanley Cups and being just an absolute force on both ends of the ice. Next up, we got Jeremy Roenick. Absolute dog. Put up so many solid seasons throughout a very lengthy career from 1988 to 2009. 21 years in the league. Had 1,200 points to show for it, 500 goals and 700 assists. Plus 153 plus-minus ratio. Just a really, really talented player. And, was a really big part of that, mid-90s Blackhawks team. Started off his career in the NHL with a 46-goal, 61-assist, 107-point season, which I'm absolutely stunned he did not get the call there for. 9-time All-Star, 91, 92. He really put on an absolute showing. And, if you score 1,000 points in this league, you're going to make it into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and we're glad to see him up there. Next up, we got Shea Weber. Huge part of the culture of the Nashville Predators from 2005 until 2016 when he was traded in that blockbuster trade with PK Subban to the Canadiens. He really was kind of the heart and soul of this team. Obviously wasn't your stats guy. Had just under 600 points for a career, which is still very, very good for a defenseman. And, he wasn't obviously he had, I think, maybe one or two 20-goal seasons. But, wasn't your offensive presence, was obviously a great leader on the team. Showed up when it really mattered. And Mark Messier Leadership Award in 2015, 2016. And, I remember where I was with that trade. I was literally playing NHL and looked on my iPod and saw that he had been traded, and I was just like, okay, wow, this is... you thought there was job security there, especially in Nashville, especially with what he, really brought to that city, and I really was stunned, especially with PK Subban doing what he had done in Montreal. I really thought that those were two dudes who were going to play with those teams for the rest of their lives, but, he was a really, really solid player, and, two-time first-team All-Team. He's a 7-time All-Star, and really, really solid hockey player, and glad he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. For the other names that you might not know, we have Darwitz and Wendell Pohl, two legendary Team USA members who spent a decade playing for Team USA together, which is really, really cool. They had a lot of very nice things to say about each other, and pretty special that they were able to, play the majority of their careers together and then get inducted on the same night. We also have David Poile, who was the, winningest GM in NHL history, longtime GM for the Nashville Predators. And then you also have Colin Campbell, who was, a very big part of that Red Wings team, being a part of, a member of the Red Wings, a player of the Red Wings coaching staff, and just being with Datsuk and Zetterberg and with the Red Wings while they were, winning Stanley Cup. So pretty awesome that they were able to get inducted at the same time as well. Next up, we got winning streaks. Starting off with the Vegas Golden Knights. They finally got their winning streak snapped, or home winning streak snapped. Started off 8-0 on the season. Carolina's able to make quick work of them, 5-2. And, they're only 1-4-2 on the road right now. They're not really a strong team, on the road, which is a big factor. But, hopefully they're able to stay consistent at home, get back on the winning track. Right now, this team's fourth in the Western Conference. And, again, they are very good. They have 20 points on the year so far, 9-4-2. And, hopefully they're able to, string another streak back, put them back, in that 1 or 2 spot, or really probably 2 or 3 spot. No one's really competing with Winnipeg right now, but, they finally get their first home loss of the season. Next up, you have the Florida Panthers. They went on a 7-game winning skid. Last night, it was snapped by the New Jersey Devils, who have now taken sole possession of the top spot of the Eastern Conference. Florida, they've only played 16 games. New Jersey's played 19, so, they're still catching up to do, obviously. But Florida's been pretty balanced so far, whether it's home or away. Their goal differential isn't great throughout the season so far. I really honestly thought it'd be more with, the threats that they have on offense. But, that was a great win for New Jersey. They looked pretty dominant throughout the entire time, and, they looked like they, whatever last season was, it's whatever it was that was causing them to, really they're beating themselves in a lot of games. They've kind of cleaned that up, and hopefully they'll be able to, stay consistent throughout the year. And I know the Panthers are going to do the same. And I can't obviously stop talking about Winnipeg. I have no idea what's happening right now. Obviously it's something we've never really seen before. 15-1 to start the season. Best start to an NHL season in NHL history. They really, they're 7-0 on the road. They haven't lost a road game. They're 8-1 at home. Like, I really don't even know how to explain it. And I watched the Jets Rangers game last night. This team just plays with they're just so fast and they're so smart and they take advantage of every single turnover. Like, you have to play the smartest style of hockey with them, or else they're going to take advantage of it. You got Scheifele, who's insane. You got Connor, who's insane. Like, it's really difficult to compete with them. And then you have a world-class goalie in net who's more than likely on his fast track to the Vezina Trophy, especially if they continue their success. I mean, they have 6 more points than the next best team. They have 30 points on the year so far through 16 games. New Jersey has 24 points in 19 games. Like, you can't, their goal differential, goals for 73, goals against 34 with a differential of 39 goals. Like, it's insanity. It really is insanity. And I mean, they're just going to continue to do this for the remainder of the year. Like, they're not plagued with injuries. They're not plagued with any sort of, they just are laser focused every single game, and their chemistry is absolutely unmatched. Finally, we got Carolina. They've been playing really, really great so far this year. Also balanced home and away. And they obviously went on their 8-game winning skid. Kind of put their season in a really, really solid direction. And, I mean, obviously helps that Martin Necas has the second best start to a Carolina Hurricane season since Jordan Staal. And yeah, this team is really dealing. They got Kochetkov, who's on a 7-game win streak, which that's exactly what you want to hear when your number one goalie goes down and your backup goalie comes in and, plays really, really exceptionally well. And this team is, this is nothing really new to them. I'm sure they're going to go on their, streaks, and they'll, have their bouts where they lose a few games, never really more than 2 or 3. That's kind of their MO, is they never really stay down for long. And, this team is heating up, and, once Freddie Anderson comes back and, give Kochetkov some rest and let 2 really, really strong goalies, lead them to success. And, obviously with the offense that they have, they are really going to make a really, really strong show for this season. Next up, we have my 3 stars of the week. A lot of solid play out of a lot of players this week, but starting off at my number 3 spot, we got McJesus. He had a great 4-point game yesterday in the overtime win against the Islanders. And, he's doing his thing. 7 points in 3 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. And, once they're able to kind of get, he's, back to his normal self. Watching his passing ability, his goal scoring ability is really, it's top notch. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I really think he's the best player in the NHL at all times. And I think he's really able to dominate games and, get double teamed, take people off the puck. And that's what allows him to find the open guys is, he's able to draw defenders, make sure that there's 2 on him at all times. And, he'll find Draisaitl, he'll find Nugent Hopkins, he'll find Hyman, and, they'll score goals. Coming into my second star of the week, we got Jack Hughes out of New Jersey. He's playing a really, really good season so far this year. I think, again, there was a lot of expectations last year for that Devils team, and they just weren't able to really come out on top. But Jack had a great week this week. 7 points in 4 games, 4 goals in 4 games, and 3 assists. He's putting up a really solid season. He's got 19 points on the year, second on the team. And this Devils team is playing really well. He had a great pass from Brad to Jack Hughes last night. Go look it up if you haven't seen it already. Great little backhand shuffle pass into a one-timer for Jack. It was pretty. Very pretty. And, this team is number 1 in the Eastern Conference right now, and he's obviously a big part of that. Big, leader on this team, and he had a great week this week, and going to put up a solid season. And coming in at my number one star of the week, we got Jack Eichel for Vegas. They didn't really put up the wins that they wanted to. I think they went 1-2 this week, but he had a really, really great week this week. 8 points in 3 games, 2 goals and 6 assists. I'm hoping and praying that this guy puts up a solid season. He is, and stays healthy. Really needs to make sure that he stays healthy. When he's able to, he can really compete at a, very strong level. And, that Vegas team he's got the tools to do it. He's got the teammates to help him. And, he can lead them back to a cup. 20 points on the year for the Knights so far. They're second in the Pacific right now. And, he's really the driving force. With that line with Stone and Barbashev with 8 goals this year, they're really just dealing right now. And Eichel as well. 24 points on the year so far through 15 games, 5 goals and 19 assists. He's going to continue to do that. I really hope he's able to put up a 100-point year. And he is my, no doubt, first star of the week. Next up, we got my team of the week. Obviously, I want to say Winnipeg, but I cannot keep putting them on here because I got to show other teams some love. So, in my opinion, I really thought that New Jersey had a really good week. 4 games this week, 3-1. Obviously had that blunder against San Jose, which that's going to happen. It's going to be a long season. Stuff like that will happen to you. But other than that, I think they bounced back really, really well against Florida with a great win. 4-1. Beat the Canadians, beat the Islanders. And, this team they're going to continue their success. They have a lot of different factors on offense and defense that are, leading to them being a really strong team so far this year. You got Hischier just scoring goals left and right. He's got 10 on the year. Bratt with 21 points. Hughes with 19 points. Dougie Hamilton playing a really, really great season so far with 14 points. Stefan Nason, his first year as a Devil, 14 points with 7 goals and 7 assists. Timo Meier, 7 goals, 7 assists. Cotter, 7 goals, 5 assists. This team really is putting up good numbers offensively, and their goaltending has been, fairly good so far. Markstrom, 13 games played, 8 wins, 4 losses, 1 OT loss. Only letting 2.5 goals a game. 91 save percentage. They're playing enough to win games, and Jake Allen too. They're back up, 3 wins and 3 losses with a 2.35 goals given a game. They're playing really, really solid hockey right now. I'm sure their goaltending will improve, but this team put up really good numbers this week. Only allowed 8 total goals in 4 games, which is that'll win you hockey games for sure. Their power play was a little off, only 12.5% this week. 8 opportunities, only 1 goal netted. But their penalty kill was really good. 8 goals or 8 opportunities and only 1 goal allowed. Shot differential was great. They were plus 20 in that department. And just put up a solid week. Got some wins that they probably needed to, put themselves atop of the Eastern Conference. And this is a really solid team, and I look forward to seeing their success come playoff time. Next up, we're going to get a deeper look into the overall standings for the NHL right now. Eastern Conference is really a battle. I feel like every single team throughout the entire league is 3 wins from being in the playoffs right now and 3 losses from being out. Like, it's really just been a very, very tightly contested season so far. 15 to 20 games into the season. Starting off with the Eastern Conference, you got the Devils leading the pack so far, 24 points off 11 wins, 6 losses, and 2 overtime losses. Their home record is not looking super great right now. They're 4-3-2 at home, which, you kind of need that. You need that home ice advantage. That, especially come playoff time, that is one of the biggest parts about playing, is making sure that you can win on the home or win at home. And their away record is great so far, 7-3, which as a fan I would take that. But not even being 500 at home 19 games through the season is definitely something for fans to be a little concerned about. Then we got Florida. Through 16 games played, they got 11 wins, 4 losses, and 1 overtime loss with 23 points on the year. Pretty balanced so far. They got pretty manhandled last night against New Jersey, but still a really talented hockey team. Then you got Carolina, who's looking really strong so far. Only 14 games played, 11 of those wins, only 3 losses with 22 points. They got a lot of strong pieces flowing right now. And you really don't want this team to get hot, because I feel like they could really take over very, very quickly. And a lot of players on that team who are starting to play, pick up their intensity and really make a strong pull or push to that top spot of the East. Then we got Washington, who, again, I really think was a big surprise this year. I didn't think that this team was really ready. I didn't think that they were going to be, as strong as they have been so far this year. A lot of these players are young and not as experienced as, some of these other teams who are being successful right now. But they've, really kind of rallied behind, the new head coach, and really rallied behind, I feel like they have really everything kind of rocking right now. Good goalkeeping. You got, Ovi eyeing that goal record, and he's putting up solid stats so far this year. Dylan Strome, 22 points over 14 games, got 18 assists. You got Ovechkin with 10 goals, Connor McMichael with 10 goals. You got Protas with 13 points, Tom Wilson 12 points, Carlson 11 points. Like, a lot of people dealing on this team right now, playing, the brand of hockey that they, want to play. And let's not forget Logan Thompson. He's got 7 wins and goose egg losses. This dude has not lost a game yet this year. 2.5 goals allowed a game, 91 save percentage. He's putting them in the position to win. Charlie Lindgren not having the start that he really wanted. 3-4 on the year, but again, this team looks really, really strong so far. They play really fast and they play really intense, and I really hope that they're able to continue their success throughout the season. Next up, we got the Maple Leafs in at that 5 spot. 17 games played so far this year, 9 wins, 6 losses, and 2 overtime losses with 20 points on the year. Home record looks good. 7-3 so far. Away record, not as great, 2-3-2. I really think that, I really wish this team was what I think that they could be. I mean, they have so much talent on this team, and it's confusing almost as to why they are unable to reach that next step. And hopefully Stolarz is able to maybe push them. He's having a very solid year so far. Just really over 500 in regards to win percentage, but he's only given up just over 2 goals a game and a 93 save percentage. He's keeping them in games. Their defense has probably been a little suspect this year. But I mean, again, the overall talent in regards to forwards and defensemen is there. I mean, you have Marner, you have Nylander, who's got 11 goals so far this year. You got Tavares, seasoned vet, who's just always good. Morgan Riley, great defenseman. Matthews, great. Matthew Nice, who's coming out and playing a solid start to his year. You have Jake McCabe, who's that great defensive presence. You got it's just so many players who can really make chances and create chances and score goals, and it's just not enough. I don't know what they really need to do to move them in the right direction. I don't know what else they really need to do to put them above. But coming up at that 6th spot, we got the Rangers. 14 games played, 9-4-1, 19 points. They lost last night. A lot of turnovers that just can't really happen against, that strong of a Jets team. And, they've looked a little suspect sometimes this year. Teams that they really should be beating. Their defense is really something to be concerned about if you're a fan, because I've heard in press conferences and I've heard in post-game interviews that Igor saved us or Jonathan Quick saved us, and that can't continue to happen. You know what I mean? Like, that can't continue if you're going to win. You have to have, and they have really solid defensemen who can play physical with Trouba and Lindgren and Keandre Miller, and obviously Fox is not as physical as the rest of them, but they need to be able to put a body on somebody and stop from entering the ozone so easily. Winnipeg did it 1,000 times last night. Everyone really does it because their brand of hockey is so, it's not soft, but it's very poke check heavy, and that's just not gonna help you. It's not gonna help you win games, and it's gonna continue their very odd start to the season. Then we got the Bruins in at that 7th spot, 8-7-2, solid win last night, but again, I think this team really needs a kick in the right direction. Hoping that Pasta getting bench was going to be that, but hopefully they're able to turn it around and make for a decent season. And coming in at that 8th spot, we got Ottawa. This team was hoping, I think, for obviously a better start this year. With Allmark coming in, him being, who he was for Boston, he unfortunately hasn't really been that for them so far. But again, that going back to the issue with the Rangers, goalies can really only do so much. And I think the Senators' defense, just as the Rangers' defense, they have some players who are able to put a body on somebody, and most players who are able to, or who try and stick poke and poke check the puck away and hope for a clear out of the ozone. So it's I think teams like the Panthers, and really what I saw from Winnipeg, is they used physicality and their quickness to move players out of the way and position other players to not be able to create shots and get shots on net. And if you're able to do that efficiently, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. But we'll see. Next up, we got the Western Conference. Hit at number 1. We all know it. Winnipeg. Best start to the NHL season ever. 15-1 through 16 games. 30 points through 16 games. 8-1 at home. Undefeated 7-0 on the road. 39 goal differential. I really don't really know how to explain it. I really don't. But they're going to continue to do exactly what they've been doing, and I know it's early, but I foresee that President's Cup trophy. Number 2 spot, we got Minnesota. They're playing really good so far. 23 points, 10-2-3 on the year. Pretty strong showing on the road, 7-1-2, but lost their last game. But they have a lot of strong components to that team that will make up for a strong rest of the season. Then we got LA at the 3 spot, 9-5-3 with 21 points. Not a big goal differential. They've had a lot of close games, but they've been able to pull out a bunch of games so far this year. Number 4 spot, we got Vegas, 9-4-2 with 20 points so far this year. They just got their first home loss, but hopefully they can continue their home success and maybe get some road success as well. It's not a solid start to the year on the road, only 1-3-2. In that 5th spot, we got Vancouver, 14 games played, 8-3-3 with 19 points. Really abysmal home start for them. I'm sure the fans are getting frustrated, but playing decent on the road, 6-1 so far this year. Only a one goal differential throughout the entire year. They've had a lot of close games, been blown out a few times, so hopefully they can kind of figure out what's going on. In that 6th spot, we got Calgary, 8-6-3 through 17 games, 19 points. This Calgary team, I really thought that maybe Huberdeau or someone on this team would hopefully try and lift them into that next level, but they don't really have as many playmakers as some of these other teams, and you definitely start to see it. Obviously not the worst team in the league, or worst team in the Western Conference, but I just wonder the longevity and success and how long it may span throughout the year. Then that 7th spot, we got Dallas, 14 games played this year, 9-5-0, 18 points on the year. This team, in my opinion, on paper, has the best roster. And I feel like some people might disagree with that, but you have so much veteran talent and you have so many young guys who really can play really, really good hockey. I think some players probably don't have the start that they wanted. Jason Robertson, only 7 points through 14 games. That's one of your biggest offensive forces, and kind of starting off a little cold. But you got Rupe Hintz, you got Wyatt Johnson, Sagan, Logan Stankoven starting off really, really well so far. Marchman playing good, and obviously they had their 6-goal period against Pittsburgh this past week. But something's going on with the Stars. I don't know. It's hopefully they're able to kind of kick it into a new gear. The goaltending has not been terrible, but got to win some more games. And finally, in that 8th spot, we got Edmonton. 16 games played, 8 wins, 7 losses, and 1 OTL. 17 points on the year. Obviously McDavid going down for a few games at the beginning of the year, that's going to affect your schedule, or it's going to affect your record, regardless of who you're talking to. Draisaitl putting up a really good year so far, 20 points through 16 games, 12 goals so far. McDavid second in points, 17 points through 13 games. So, once this team really kind of gets back to flowing, Hyman is still starting off slow, and a lot, really other than McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't really see a lot of offense, being created. And though he is, and obviously the best combination in hockey right now, it's clearly not enough. And the goaltending has been pretty lax so far, so hopefully, some other players on that team can kind of pick it up and, up their level, but as of right now, this team really is, not making a solid push right now. Finally, we got our stat leaderboards. Who's leading the league in points, goals against average, and save percentage so far this year? Points, we got Nathan McKinnon. Absolutely stellar start to the year so far. Obviously, this Avalanche team is not playing the style of hockey that they want. They got the Kings tonight at 10 p.m., but, McKinnon is putting this team on his back. He's got 7 goals so far, 23 assists, first in the league so far in assists, and first in points with 30. This is nothing new for him. Hopefully he can get some help because they got to win some hockey games. Then you got Kaprizov in at number 2 with 28 points, playing so great so far this year with a really strong Wild team. You got Sam Reinhart out of Florida with 24 points. Natchez, who's been playing unbelievably great these past 10 games, 24 points out of Carolina. And then obviously Cale Makar, who, really is on pace to put up probably one of the more historic defenseman seasons that we've seen in a very, very, very long time. Next up, we got goals. Coming in, we got a 3-way tie for first. Sam Reinhart out of Florida with 12. Draisaitl with 12. Cole Caulfield, which is great. I'm really, really glad that he's been playing. Really been the only, positive part on that offense for that Montreal team. But he's got 12 on the year. And then tied for second, we got Kucherov with 11. And then Kyle Connor, who's been lighting it up in Winnipeg with 11 as well. Next up, we got goals against average. Coming at number 1, we got Connor Hellebuck. 13 games played, 12-1 so far this year. He's got a 1.92 goals allowed a game. He takes 377 shots, and he has let 25 in through 13 games. This guy is on the fast track to that Vezina trophy, and we all know it. He's just been playing really, really great so far this year, and he's going to continue. Next up, we got Anthony Stolarz out of Toronto. 2.1 goals allowed a game. He's going to have to continue the success if this Toronto team wants to be good. In that 3 spot, we got Philip Gustafson out of Minnesota. He's got 7 wins on the year so far, 2 losses, 2 OTLs, with a 2.27 goals allowed a game. He's really been a big factor as to why this team is winning games, other than, their offense being super, super strong so far. In that 4 spot, we got Ottinger, 10 games played, 7-3 on the year, with a 2.44 goals allowed a game. And in that 5 spot, we got Kevin Lankinen, who's been playing really solid for Vancouver. Also been a huge part of their success, really any of their success so far, with 8-1-2 on the year, with a 2.46 goals allowed a game. Finally, we're talking save percentage. Coming in at number 1, we got Hellebuck, obviously. Has a 93.4 save percentage so far this year. Going to continue with that success, I'm sure, throughout the year. Then you got Stolarz with 93%. Then you got Lucas Dostal, 92.2%. Though his record does not say it, he's really been keeping Anaheim in games. That Anaheim offense is literally so lackluster, it's difficult to watch at times. So, he's a really talented goalie. I hope, their offense and defense is, hopefully they're able to kind of pick it up here soon, but it's tough. It is tough in Anaheim right now. That 4 spot, we got Philip Gustafson with 91.9 save percentage. And then Joey Decord out of Seattle He's been playing really well for them so far. He's 6-3-1 on the year with a 91.6 save percentage. Well, everyone, that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for listening to the 5th episode of the 30-Minute Major Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Wyatt McInerney. If you like the episode, please feel free to follow us on all social media accounts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all at 30-Minute Major. Please go watch yourself some hockey and enjoy the rest of the week. See you next Wednesday.